How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about PROG stock. It had quite the pullback inside of the market today, but one thing to be aware of, there is still strength when we take a look at it from a technical aspect, plus there's still a lot of demand for shares. I'll talk about it further in this video. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder or you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. What does the stock look like in a bearish case scenario and as well as in a bullish case scenario? And then we're going to go on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know what was the buying and as well as the selling behavior like on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to be doing a technical analysis for PROG. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $4.30, being down 11.89%. On the low, it tested $3.94, and then on the high, testing $4.65. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 78.012 million shares, and for the average volume over 10 trading days being at 91.846 million shares. So one thing we noticed right away, we did have below average volume on the day. The market was fairly choppy for many stocks, and of course PROG was impacted by this. Now when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, we are right around 62.66. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here, you can see we have strength above the 100-day, the 50-day, the 200-day, and as well as the 21-day EMA. So like I was talking about in the previous video, I wanted to see PROG hold up the $4 level, and it was able to do just that. And yes, it did end up going to $3.94, but you can see we quickly recovered and we still ended up seeing a high of the day of $4.65, and closing at $4.30 is definitely a good look. So going into tomorrow, if we have another pullback, most preferably I want us to hold up the $4 level. Now if we're able to hold it up and the market is looking fairly strong and we're seeing more money coming into small cap stocks, then of course I'm going to want to see PROG get past this area of resistance at 465 it had on the day, so we can make that next move going here to just under $4.90. And if the volume is there, no doubt in my mind we should be able to pass $5. So this is part of the reasons why I still remain bullish when it comes to this play. Even if it did break through this $4 level and it started coming down, then of course I'm going to remain bullish as long as it's staying above $3.50. That just gives you an idea, but also understand, and I pointed this out as well, it does have a big time gap here that needs to be filled. So I know many traders would want to set a stop loss around here just to make sure that they can minimize their downside risk. But for the most part, let's see how PROG actually performs going into tomorrow, but I will definitely be keeping an eye on it. So we're going to take a look at the short interest information for PROG. So the dark pool short volume ratio is at 55.55%, and then for the dark pool short volume being just over 66.7 million shares. Scrolling down further on the page, the short shares availability is at 50,000, updated 15 minutes ago, and then for the short ball fee rate, it is at 65.77. So it has gone down. Remember, it was in the 70% range not too long ago. And now when we take a look at the history of the short volume ratio, we can see for the close of the 16th, it was at 49.18, and then for the close of the 17th being at 55.55, and that is from yesterday. So what this tells us, PROG does continue to have short squeeze potential, and shorts have been increasing on their overall positions. So this is part of the reasons why there's a lot of volatility inside of this play, and it's making sure that you have a strategy before jumping in. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for PROG. So you can see here on the inflow it was 71.93, and then on the outflow it was 65.76. Taking a look at the breakdown even further, on the large it was 0.99, and then on the medium it was 51.99. 1.08. When we take a look at the small, it was 19.86. When we take a look at the outflow side on the large, it was 1.85. Then on the medium, it was 45.96. And then on the small, it was 17.95. When we take a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for today, November the 18th being an outflow day of 864.38. And this is just for large scale orders. Overall, in general, we did have an inflow day, so more buying than we had selling. When we take a look at the breakdown even further, when we take a look at the small scale orders, which tends to represent the retail side, we had more buying than we had selling. When we take a look at the medium size orders, we had more buying than we had selling. And of course, when we took a look at the large, there was more selling than we had buying. Now, when we take a look at the turnover ratio, though, it was at 48.10%. So what this tells us right away, there's a lot of traders that are going in and out of this play. But I know many of you are not surprised by that. There's been some great volatility. There's been nice price action that you can profit off of. And this is why it is that high. I know there are some of you who are also holding on to your shares as well. So I just make sure that if you are holding shares, that you're getting in at a really good cost and you're not buying at the highs. And if you are bag holding, please have a strategy in place and just don't rely on emotions or relying on what you're hearing from the outside, because you need to look out for your best interests. So now let's jump into the final thoughts and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for PROG stock going into tomorrow, it's definitely going to be interesting. In regards to the options, which I talked about in previous videos, we see as far as for the 3.5 strike and as well as the $5 strike, I feel they're going to try their best, and I'm talking about the market makers here, they're going to keep it under $5, and most definitely they're going to probably try to put it under $4. So again, if there's a lot of buying pressure coming into the play, then of course we can look forward to seeing some moves to the upside. But again, this is dependent on volume. But when you take these options into consideration, the last thing they want to do is have all of these options finishing in the money. This is when we start talking about gamma squeezes and so forth. But at the end of the day, I want you guys to be aware of what's going on the technical side. Because if that doesn't end up coming through, you're going to want to have a good idea of what the chart looks like and what we're actually seeing in front of us. And that's why I was saying, if we can just form a base and consolidate around $4, that is definitely a good look. On the day, yes, we did break through the $4 level, but that was very brief and we were able to bounce back up. So that's why I say consolidate at 4, and then we can look forward to seeing that move to the upside. If we end up jumping to 5 and 6, that is great, but I don't have any problems whatsoever if we decide to say, well, you know what, on Friday, finishing at 4, because at least for all those options that are behind that $4 strike, let's see what happens going into next week. But I know as far as $5 is concerned, they're going to try their best to keep it under $5. When we went on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information, it still continues to have short squeeze potential. So keeping that in mind, this is why I said you want to make sure that buying pressure is coming into the play. And I'm going to be keeping an eye on it, especially in the pre-market, and letting everyone inside of Discord know what the action is looking like. And also to my next point, if you are inside of this play and you are holding a bag, I want you to look and see what happened. How did this occur? Did you make the right decision? Did you FOMO? The reason why I want to emphasize this because I don't want you to make that mistake again. If you are holding this play and you are seeing profits, here's my next question. What is your exit, right? In other words, what is your target going to be? The last thing that you want is emotions and greed to get into the way. Because when you see the stock moving fairly quickly, and then when it pulls back very fast, the last thing that I want to hear is be like, man, I could have sold at this price. Oh, I missed out. Again, make sure you have your plan outlined. You have your strategy and you go out there and you execute it. I want to emphasize this. I don't hear this that much on YouTube. Instead, all I hear is, oh, it's going to go to the moon or it's going to go to this price. Continue to hold doesn't, nah. You need to look out for yourself. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and we'll be talking real soon.